What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit about Rocksteady. So, a few days ago, I went on kind of like a job search hunt, not my own, but I thought, all right, let's look across the industry. I actually found a couple different things from different studios, but for this video specifically, Rocksteady. Now, here's the deal. I don't think this is all that shocking. I also can't confirm nor deny if we have not, thought this before, or maybe this was like a Twitter discussion one time. I know we've talked about this specifically for Monolith, right? That was definitely found in job postings for Wonder Woman, that it very much looks like Monolith, makers of Wonder Woman, are working on two games at the same time, right? Now, that's also not shocking because WB Montreal, we've known for a while, I'm talking 3-4 years, that they have two studios. So it's not shocking that, as the industry continues to grow and games take forever to make and they cost so much money, that studios would try to expand and split teams, right? Have two teams at WB Montreal instead of one. Double the product, double the money. And I thought, okay, well, let's look at Rocksteady. There's been obviously a lot of speculation and a lot of doomsday-like things. I got to be real. A lot of doomsday talk for Rocksteady after Suicide Squad. Like, what do they do next? And we can have that discussion, right? Like we've said before, I think Rocksteady is going to try to at least extend the life as long as they can. Probably around a year's worth of content is what I kind of predict, right? But are they working on other things? Well, again, I don't think we've ever talked about this. The answer is yes. So what I did is I went on their site, and they're hiring actually several jobs. I took a screenshot of two different jobs because they word it two different ways. I actually found this interesting. I'll show it to you and, we'll read it out. But they have multiple job postings, and these two phrases are on all of them. This is not, the two I'm going to show you are not the only two that they use the same, language. There are two different kind of ways of wording it, and then those two ways are spread across all of the job postings, okay? So let me show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so first up is Senior Physics Programmer. Again, I kind of just randomly chose this because this kind of wording is across, multiple jobs. So they're looking for a Senior Physics Programmer, but the important part is the next paragraph, right, the bottom there. So you'll be joining the physics code team, where you'll be creating and maintaining physics-based systems and gameplay, as well as supporting teams across Rocksteady as we expand Suicide Squad Kill a Justice League, so continuing, and everything beyond. Okay, so let me just leave that just for a couple seconds in your head, and let's actually pull up the next one. So this one is for a lead rendering programmer, and they say, again, this is different wording, but same kind of message. Rocksteady is looking for a lead rendering programmer to join our dedicated and collaborative team to work on our ongoing title, Suicide Squad, and new exciting things to come. Now, again, is this earth-shattering? Does it tell you that they're making a Justice League game or a Teen Titans game that I've been asking for like 3-4 years? No, it doesn't tell you what the next game is, but it certainly tells you, at least I believe, you could argue with me in the comments and say you can read a different way, and maybe people can, and my way doesn't have to be the right way. But that kind of language, exciting things to come, the future, that kind of talk, they're clearly, I don't think they're talking about it. I guess this is where the split could happen. You could say, well, are they talking about it like, hey, join us as we do Suicide Squad, and then when we're done with Suicide Squad, then we'll do whatever's next. I suppose that is possible, but again, I think you also have to think about the gaming landscape. And at least that's how I'm going about it. It's not even necessarily just about these job postings. It seems like a lot of teams at WB Games are doing this. You have two other teams that are now, one of them has always been DC kind of based, right, in Montreal. And then you have Monolith, who did, Middle Earth and now is doing, Wonder Woman. And if you have those two studios that have split themselves and made two different teams each, Rocksteady, are they the critical darling and the people's darling that they were back with Arkham City? No. They've fallen from grace quite a bit, but they're still massive. They are still, I believe, talented and capable. And if you're WB, you want the most output that you can get from all these studios. So yeah, you could read it as, and I'm not going to necessarily argue all that much if you read it as, hey, join us now and join us because we're going to start something new in 2-3 years. But the way I read it is kind of at the same time, right? They're doing Suicide Squad. Come work on Suicide Squad and come work on other things that we're not going to say right now, and we're not going to say in a job posting, but we're working on that too. and you combine that with the other teams at WB, I think it makes a lot of sense for Rocksteady to basically split into two. And I think I believe, like a hot take or a controversial kind of prediction, I think it probably has already happened, right? Like, again, you look at these other teams. Monolith seemingly has done it recently. Again, Montreal, I mean, maybe even probably 4 years ago, I think is a good number, right? You could almost half a decade ago, Montreal had those two teams, and they might not be equal size, but they still have two teams. Monolith, they have two teams. That probably happened more recently, maybe in the last like 2 or so years. Rocksteady, honestly, I haven't ever looked at their job postings beyond like, this past week, so I don't know how long they've been saying that, but could they have done it just in the last year or so? And you also have to think the game is out. Suicide Squad is out. So even if they're not doing two things at once, I mean, like no matter what, they kind of have to be doing two things at once. I guess the question would be, are they doing Suicide Squad and then like their future game, and they're only doing the future game because like Suicide Squad is kind of over, right? Like they'll have a skeleton crew on it. They'll support it for a year, but they've really overwhelmingly moved on. Or is it you have Suicide Squad and then you also have a good chunk of people working on the next game. And then once Suicide Squad is over with, you still have that next game, but then the Suicide Squad team also makes another game. So then you have those two games. So you know what I mean? What's the structure? It's one of those. It has to truly be one of those. It's not everybody and their mom working on Suicide Squad, right? I think some people have moved on. It's just how they split the team, I think. And those job postings I find to be kind of interesting. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.